Tonight on News 5 Live, government and opposition denounce Russia's invasion of Ukraine. PSU looks forward to salary cut reinstatement, but PM says that might be premature. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
It's a fact that your credit lasts longer when using Smart. During these times, we're all trying to find ways to cut costs and save the little resources we have. With Smart, it's easy to do that. It's a fact that with Smart, your credit lasts longer. You can call Smart to Smart and Smart to Digi using your promo credit, while with the other guy, you can only call OnNet, Digi, or BTL numbers. What does this mean? You get to call any national number using your promo credit. Your promo credit is free, so that call is also free. Know your facts. Don't be tricked by the other guy. Be smart and save your dollars.
It's almost lunchtime and Alice is getting hungry and forgot to bring cash. She remembers that eCash now has a geolocation feature in which she can easily view the eCash merchants near her, especially restaurants. Her co-workers also ask her to order food for them.
Chicken chow mein, please, and a Coke.
The merchant sends her the payment link. She taps confirm, and within a few minutes, her food is delivered. Alice then views her transaction history and taps on the transaction recently made. Then taps the split the bill button where she selects the unevenly option and moves the bar to the desired amount per person. The request is then sent to her friends. Her colleagues accept the request and are ready to enjoy their meals. Geolocation and splitting the bill via eCash make Alice's life a whole lot easier.
Are you looking for the right product to keep your family and your home safe? Then Spark Alcohol is exactly what you've been looking for. It prevents the spread of many diseases. It's also fast-drying, safe, and conveniently packaged in a spray bottle. Protect your family and your home with Spark Alcohol. Exclusively distributed by Unitex Company Limited.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Thursday, February 24th. I am Sabrina Daly. Overnight, Russia invaded Ukraine, the second largest country by area in Europe, with a population of over 40 million. Explosions were heard and could have been seen in the distance as a full-on attack ensued. World leaders have been aware of the tensions between both countries, and some are supplying Ukraine with firearms and ammunition to defend itself against the Russian attack. And if you think that Belize is far removed from what's happening, think again. there are rippling effects for small countries like Belize that are dependent on imports. Today, Prime Minister John Briceño spoke of the unfortunate attack that in some quarters is being described as a full-fledged war.
It's unfortunate that that Russia would do such thing. I mean, we've been saying hearing on the news over and over for some time that they would do so. We were hoping that it would not happen, that diplomacy would prevail, but obviously it did not. How it's going to affect us? Well, you know already the price of fuel. That the price continues to go up as it is right now. It's over $100 per barrel. As I mentioned yesterday, we import pretty much most of our food. And so it's bad news for Belize, especially for small countries like us. Already the stock market has taken a big hit this morning we saw on TV. So let's hope and pray that better heads prevail and that maybe Russia can find a way to de-escalate very quickly.
Early this morning, Belize leader of the opposition, Moses Shine Barrow, issued a statement saying the opposition vehemently condemns the Russian invasion and calls on NATO and the United Nations to take whatever actions are necessary to protect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine. U.S. President Joe Biden today announced that it will impose sanctions against Russia, saying it is a flagrant violation of international law. With what's happening in Europe, it is anticipated that prices at the fuel pumps will increase even more. As it currently stands, regular gas is being sold at $13. According to Prime Minister John Briceño, diesel would have increased by over $1, but that GOB will absorb that cost at this time. But what will happen when the next shipment comes?
For us as a country, the taxes that we collect on the price of fuel has been going down. Before getting into government, it was approximately about 48% of the price. Now we're down to about 38%. Today in Cabinet, well, we have a retreat this afternoon and all day tomorrow, and that is going to be one of the important topics for us to discuss. There was a shipment that came in this week, a few days ago, and diesel would have gone up by about $1 at the pump. And when I spoke to the financial secretary, I said, I simply can't see how we can absorb that. So on this shipment alone, we have decided that the government is going to absorb that cost. It's going to cost us approximately $1.5 million. And within the next week or two, more fuel is going to come. And so now we have to sit down as a cabinet to decide what we can do. Because as I pointed out before, fuel brings in about $150 million in revenues for the government, and we simply just can't afford not to collect those taxes.
Teachers and public officers could see their full annual salaries being restored within the new fiscal year. This morning, Dean Flowers, president of the Public Service Union, broke the news on Open Your Eyes morning show. According to Flowers, on Wednesday, the joint union negotiating team received a commitment from the government of Belize to that end.
What we got yesterday was a commitment from the government that the 10% salary will be restored gradually during the current fiscal year. Mm-hmm. There was absolutely no specific percentage or incremental percentage or stages that were provided in terms of at what point within the fiscal year would we be fully restored to 10%. But the undertaking, or I would rather use the word commitment, because I'll get to their undertaking, which they're no longer honoring. But the commitment now is that within fiscal year 2022-2023, the government is committed in restoring the 10%, and we cannot at this moment say that we will give you in one drop. Yeah. It may be in 2 or 3, I don't know. Cabinet, as we now know, are meeting today and tomorrow, and I understand coming out of that session will be a definitive decision on what are the stages within which the 10% will be restored in this coming fiscal year.
PSU President Flowers went on to talk about the implications of an incremental restoration on the public sector's pay scale system. He is recommending that no more than 2 installments be made, because every installation will require logistical work to create a new pay scale.
If it was left to me, I would have preferred to hear, look, because there's some intricacies, if you will.
Tell us.
Because remember, they use the word stages and gradually. Mm-hmm. And every time you tamper with the pay scale, you have to create, or you increase salaries or cut salaries, you have to create a new pay scale. When you cut a new pay scale, it impacts who pays taxes and who doesn't pay taxes. Yes. Mm-hmm. The FOs have a little bit more work to do. I wouldn't subscribe that we do that 2 and 3 times during the course of the year. I would want to see that done 1 or 2 times and that's it.
So you're saying 5% and 5%?
That would be great, or 1/6 and 1/4. I don't know, but we'll see what cabinet decides today, and they will then re-engage us and provide us with their decision as it relates to the restoration of that 10% in the upcoming fiscal year.
When we caught up with Prime Minister John Briceño on Hamburger's Key today, we asked him to confirm if Cabinet is in fact prepared to restore the 10% salary cut. Prime Minister John Briceño says he is not opposed to restoring it, but Cabinet must first take a close look at the country's fiscal position.
Maybe it's either being a little bit premature, but what we have to do is the DPM and Minister Fonseca, they're going to, along with Minister Henry Charles, they are going to be reporting to Cabinet today, and then we're going to be discussing, because remember, giving back the full 10%, we're looking at about over $60 million more in cost. And then if we are looking at cutting in fuel, then we're going to be completely out of work. So we have to find that balance. Mind you, I'm not in any way opposed to giving back the 10%, but we have to look at what is in front of us, the financial crisis that small countries like ours are facing.
So what about the frozen increments? Will public officers and teachers also see the restoration of their annual increment? Viewers may recall that along with the 10% salary cut, public sector workers were also hit with a 3-year increment freeze. Well, it seems at this time the government is preparing to look at it, but an official decision is yet to be taken.
The important thing as it relates to increments is that they committed to look at it as well over the 2 days retreat. Yeah. They were honest to say their primary focus was on the restoration of the 10% salary. Okay. They had not had any discussion or consideration as it relates to increment. But as I stated to them, and as I stated to my membership, and as I will state to public officers, and especially those public officers under the age of 25, you need to pay attention to your increments. Mm-hmm. You have to stop seeing things in the, when I say from your eye to your nose, you have to stop being short-sighted and myopic. Mm-hmm. Your increments is what will affect you in the hundreds of thousands of dollars if it is not addressed and addressed swiftly. Mm-hmm. The 10% is just a straight off the top of your salary, but your increments has a multiplying effect over your remaining years in the service.
Coming up, Prime Minister comments on recent strike actions at the Port of Belize and the blockade at BSI. Details when we return.
Who offers the best home internet experience? The truth is, Digi, of course. Diginet has the largest fiber network and the fastest speeds with the most reliable service. That's more learning, more earning, more gaming, more bonding, more sharing, getting more things done. And now, Diginet is even more affordable with the new entry plan, a 20 megabits per second fiber connection for for just $49 monthly and increased speeds in all plans. The truth is, only Digi has the ultimate home internet experience with savings up to $270 when you bundle. Wireless and cable can't give you that. So what are you waiting for? Sign up or make the switch to Diginet today to enjoy more speeds to get more done. Digi, our national telecom.
At BEL, we remain committed to delivering safe, reliable, and sustainable energy solutions to communities across Belize. We are connecting more homes and businesses to enhance the quality of life and the productivity of enterprise and to support national development. We are always here for you.
In the Ministry of Public Utilities, Energy, Logistics and E-Governance will be conducting a National Energy Use Survey from the 2nd of February to 30th May 2022. The survey will cover all sectors of Belize's economy, and the collected information will be used to support energy policies and assist in planning a sustainable future for Belize's energy sector. If your household has been selected, an enumerator will visit your home with an identification card. Enterprises will receive an online questionnaire to complete. In both cases, the ministry requests your kind cooperation. This survey is financed by a grant from the Global Environmental Facility via the World Bank, acting as the project executing agency under the framework of the Energy Resilience for Climate Adaptation Project.
The standoff between sugarcane farmers and ASR-BSI in the north, when compared to the logjam between stevedores and the port of Belize back in January, bears some similarities. In both instances, the government of Belize stepped in to mediate between the respective parties. While the end result varied, some feel the Briceño administration dealt with the Caneros differently than it did with the dock workers of the Christian Workers Union. Here's how PM Briceño responded to that question.
We are $1.5 million to the stevedores for crying out loud. No. We are giving stevedores a $1.5 million. One. Two, when we settled with the stevedores to open up, there was no threat of a lawsuit with threat of a lawsuit. Now, for us to be able to open up the factory, then we told because the farmers would not have opened the factory if BSI did not pull back that indemnity. So we decided, in the interest of the industry, in the interest of the country, is to say, okay, we will give you an indemnity that should there be a lawsuit, then government is going to respond. Now, that does not mean that we are going to take that lying down. BSI is an important partner in this country. I don't think it is in their interest to pick a fight with the government. There are a number of things that they will be asking of us. So if they are going to be fighting with us, then obviously we will have to take a second look at whatever it is that they're asking. I do not expect that BSI will come and say, well, no, government, you have to pay me.
Amid the deadlock between the Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association and ASR-BSI, the government of Belize gave assurances that there would be legal exemption from penalties or liabilities. Notwithstanding the indemnity that was promised by Briceño administration, the miller is now seeking legal action. In speaking with the media on Tuesday, Prime Minister Briceño said he hoped that cooler heads would triumph.
What I am saying, I do not expect, and I hope that better minds prevail at BSI, of them not going all the way to take the government to, in effect, take the government to court.
But what they want is for any possible threats of blockade to completely be eliminated, and that's kind of like what a weapon that the Cañeros have had to get things moving.
But that will never happen. It will not happen in Belize. They have factories all over the world. They have them in Mexico, and when they have problems, the cane farmers blockade the factory. I mean, that's impossible to happen.
Today, when pressed about the issue once again, amid the climate that ASR-BSI and Belikin are seeking $500,000 in compensation via a lawsuit, PM Briceño explained the reason for the indemnity. He also believes that the matter can be settled without court action.
At that time when we gave the indemnity, we felt that we needed to open the crop. I mean, Belize needs to produce sugar and to sell the sugar so we can get foreign currency. And at that time, BSI was saying that they're considering in suing the Cane Farmers Association. And so for us to be able to open the crop as quickly as possible, I think we only shut down for less than a week. We felt that by giving an indemnity, we'll be able to get them to open up and go back to work, which is what we did. With the stevedores, we gave them $1.5 million, so I don't know how anybody can speak any differently. We believe that we can still sit down and talk with BSI, and hopefully that we can get them to move away from talking about any lawsuits.
But if not, you'll have to pay.
Well, we will cross that bridge when it comes. Remember, BSI and Belize and the government of Belize, we are partners. There are a number of requests that they have for the government, including some tax relief on investments that they want to do, something that we fully support and appreciate their interest in investing in Belize. So we believe that we can find a way to solve this amicably.
The Christian Workers Union says they are angry about the legal actions being taken by the Port of Belize Limited against the union and its members. PBL has filed a Supreme Court application seeking damages to the tune of $1 million following the stevedore strike in January. The industrial action shut down the port for days and caused some importers to divert their containers to Big Creek. More recently, PBL filed an application for an injunction to stop the $1.5 million ex gratia payment from the government of Belize to stevedores for damages GOB says they suffered when the port was privatized back in the early 2000s. The government went ahead and made the payment to the CWU account on Wednesday, even before the application had been heard. Despite getting that money, today the CWU president, Mose Hyde, expressed outrage at the legal challenges.
We feel that we are being encircled by very, very serious level operations. We, in our view, committed ourselves to finding pathways going forward that would create stability in the relationship between ourselves, meaning the stevedores, and PBL. We publicly came and declared that in conversations with the representatives of PBL and its receivership. We have stated that to the government. We have stated that. But what we have experienced over the past couple of weeks are things which are indicating to us that it is not being reciprocated. And it's important for us to come to you, the stakeholders, to put it out there in the open. We have, amongst ourselves, assessed the situation. The recent history since signing the CBA being a very critical part of our analysis. Because when we thought by signing the CBA in August of 2020 that it would usher in some kind of stability, unbeknownst to us, almost at the same time, our financial realities were being amputated. So we are very guarded right now. Our membership feels angry. Our negotiating team feels targeted. And Christian Workers Union feels as if though there is a mission to get it. So we come to the people of Belize to put that case, to put that reality on the table.
And the CWU's president placed on record the union's inability to go up against the Port of Belize in court. Hyde says his union simply does not have the resources to go the distance.
The union itself would like to state for the record that we are in a position where it would appear that there is going to be some kind of battle of attrition where we know we cannot win that ball game. We don't have the capacity to be engaged in some kind of protracted litigation, confrontation, where the resources of the receivership and creditor to PBL would drag us from here to the CCJ and back on every imaginable issue. We do not have the resources to do that. Because even when you are able to prevail legally, the resources that it consumes, financial and time, is going to have a significant effect.
The freedom to take industrial action is a legal right afforded to all laborers, providing that such protest is held without incident. According to Prime Minister John Briceño, while the waterfront workers did not forego their right to strike, they have agreed that no such action will be taken before the conclusion of a collective bargaining agreement due in mid-2023.
We have a right to strike in this country as long as it's done peacefully.
Did the stevedores sign away their right to strike protected under international conventions by the signing of that MOU with the government?
No, they did not. That they did not, and it's not in the agreement.
No, that.
But what they have agreed to is that that there will be no more strikes between now and between now until the negotiations of the next MOU, which is due sometime, I think it's around June or middle of next year, of 2023.
Wow, that's incredible. PM, though, it is.
No, that's not incredible because listen to me. What they have agreed to is that they will sit down with the PBL to be able to work out the issues. Remember, there was a tribunal that was set up, and so they're saying, okay, let's work out our differences between now and the middle of next year when we're going to have a new collective bargaining agreement.
After the break, a new marine station off San Pedro and a new look for the Hol Chan Marine Reserve logo. But first, here's a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
The official migration from Belize Bank Corporation Limited to Belize Bank Limited will take place over the weekend of February 25th to 28th, 2022. This means that as of 3 p.m. on Friday, February 25th through to Monday, February 28th, Belize Bank Corporation Limited customers will not be able to access any online banking, debit card, and in-branch services. The BBCL ATM network services will also be unavailable starting the morning of February 25th, 2022. We apologize for this inconvenience and encourage customers to prepare in advance by topping up their eCash wallet or ensuring they have the cash they will need. As of March 1st, your new Belize Bank Limited account number becomes effective and you will be able to access all the great services of Belize Bank. You will be able to use your new contactless debit card at merchants countrywide, have access to a wider network of ATMs, and be able to log in and access all the great online features. Your old account number will no longer work, so you will need to provide your new Belize Bank Limited account number to all the persons and firms you do business with, including your employer. Please note that the new account numbers have already been provided for all Government of Belize employees. We welcome you to our Belize Bank family, where you will enjoy lower fees and excellent customer service.
With Smart's affordable roaming rates, I can now roam without borders.
When visiting the US or Mexico, prepaid and postpaid customers can make calls at even lower rates than in Belize, while enjoying local rates on texts and reliable data connection wherever you roam. So go ahead and go without borders.
With roaming rates so low, it's like I never left home.
This Valentine's Day, ditch the roses, skip the romantic dinner, and simply say I love you with a Samsung. treat that special someone to a Samsung A-series device. The awesome and affordable lineup includes the Galaxy A02, A03 Core, A03s, A12, A22, A32, S20 FE, and even the Tab A7 Lite and Tab A7 LTE. Plus, there's no tough love with Samsung. Every Galaxy purchase from an authorized reseller comes with a 1-year local warranty that will make you love that Galaxy even longer. So head over to any of Samsung's official partners this Valentine's and make it special.
Do people actually hear from God? Are there really angels and demons? Okay, now that's just unbelievable. In our next series, we're going beyond the Google search and facing the tough questions. It's time to take on the skeptic and eliminate the doubt. From inconceivable to unimaginable, we're talking about the Bible's most unbelievable truths. Every second of this series will be worth your while. Believe it or not.
Staying connected with your loved ones while traveling is even more important during this global pandemic. With Digi, this is even easier and more convenient with our data roaming plans. Postpaid customers have instant access to mobile data when in 41 destinations worldwide. With 3 affordable plans, starting at only $28, it's easy to instantly connect via your favorite digital platform. To purchase your data roaming plan, contact Digi before your travel date. If you are already abroad, you can contact us via email at digihelp@livedigi.com or via WhatsApp at 608-8888. For more information, visit our website at livedigi.com/digicel or visit a Digi store near you. You can roam, stay safe, and stay connected with Digi.
Today, a Hol Chan Marine Station was officially inaugurated in San Pedro and Burgess Key. It also came with the unveiling of a new logo for the Hol Chan Marine Reserve. A News 5 crew was on the island today and files this report.
The Hol Chan Marine Reserve encompasses a large area covering approximately 18 kilometers of coral reefs, mangrove forests, seagrass beds, and more, and is used by fisherfolk and tourists alike. With a new Ministry of Blue Economy, there is a sharp focus on the collective responsibility of stakeholders on this reserve. Today marked the commencement of a new era of Hol Chan.
We can take advantage of what our aquatic blue space has to offer in bounty, so that we are able to harvest, we're able to enjoy it, so that it can affect not only food-wise, but touristically, and that is all what the reef can offer. But at the same time, under the blue economy framework is that we must include the preservation of our environment. So put all of these things together becomes a shining example of what we can do using the maximum use of our blue aquatic space. Hol Chan stands out as a perfect example of the framework of the blue economy.
As a government, we're doing everything possible to be able to continue to maintain these reserves, to expand where it's necessary, and to be able to create the necessary funding that is needed. As you all know, last year we managed to work with the Nature Conservancy to set up what we call the Blue Bonds. Following today's ceremony, there was a tour of a newly installed marine station. With a new outlook, there was also the launch of a new logo for the Hol Chan Marine Reserve.
Since the establishment of Hol Chan Marine Reserve in 1987, the name Hol Chan, Mayan meaning for little channel, has come to represent conservation, protection, and biodiversity. The name is a symbol of the hard work and dedication of the Ambergiski and Peacocker communities. Their efforts towards conservation with Belize. The logo uses the name that has come to symbolize the management, organization, and incorporates one of the many iconic species of the reserve, the southern stingray. The different shades of the blue represents the sky and the sea. The waves represents continuous motion, symbolizing the continuous hard work and dedication of the staff and management to maintain the ecologic integrity of the reserve and support of the community.
The move to take care of this aquatic blue space and preserving it was not without its challenges.
This was no easy task, as we were left nothing to hold on to but hope. Hope that one day we would be able to uplift Hol Chan to where it was before. It was the same hope that kept us afloat with the ambition to keep going. Upon assuming office as chairman in January of 2021, under a new administration, we encountered the alarming financial status in which the organization was left with. To all our amazing stakeholders, believe it or not, you all have played a significant role in the restoration of our organization. We ask for your patience and continued support in our environmental effort. We are not where we want to be, but we are surely heading in the right direction.
During today's event, awards were handed out to a number of stakeholders whose cooperation helped with the success of the Hol Chan Marine Reserve. Dwayne Moody for News 5.
Village council elections are quickly approaching and will likely be held in April of this year. According to Prime Minister John Briceño, new legislation is being passed to amend the act. He says this is to ensure that there is no abuse in the voting process and that those who vote are registered to that particular village.
We're passing a new legislation for village councils, amending the Village Council Act. We're amending the Village Council Act, and one of the big changes that we're doing is to make sure that you can only vote if you are registered. You're a registered voter and registered in that village. What has happened under the previous government, because they were in government, they allowed people that do not live in the village to come in and to vote. And so to be able to stop that abuse, because I'm sure that our colleagues would have wanted to do the same thing, but it's not right. So to stop that abuse, we are changing that amendment to ensure that you can only vote if you are registered in that village.
The police are asking for help in identifying the body of a man found on Wednesday morning in an area behind the Belize Port Authority. The John Doe has a tattoo with the name Desiree on one arm. Police were called to the scene after a report made by a fisherman in the area and say the body was located about 3 miles away from the main road and has an apparent gunshot wound. Anyone who recognizes the tattoo or has other information is asked to contact the police. Just ahead, changes are coming for single-use plastics. Some details from the Minister of Sustainable Development coming up. But first, here's a weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
February is all about Honda. Get up to 22% off selected Honda products in February, such as motorcycles, outboards, lawnmowers, trimmers, water pumps, and generators. Show your vehicle some love with Castrol. Spend $100 or more on Castrol oils and get a coupon for a free oil change. We are also offering service packages. All you have to do is purchase a Honda product or equipment and get the first 3 services free. Remember, it's Love Your Honda in February. So visit VanQuip 3 miles on the Philip Golson Highway to enjoy these great deals. VanQuip, equipment, parts, service.
The Social Security Board, in collaboration with the Labor Department, takes this opportunity to remind insured persons of the requirements for compensation when on sick leave. Any employee who has worked with an employer for at least 2 months is entitled to 16 working days of sick leave with full pay every year. This is how it works. Upon approval of a sickness or injury benefit claim by SSD, 80% of the employee's weekly insurable earnings is paid as a Social Security benefit, and the difference in the employee's salary is paid by the employer. This is to ensure that the employee does not suffer any loss of wages when ill. After 16 days, compensation for sick leave is paid as a Social Security benefit only. Some conditions apply. This message is brought to you by the Social Security Board and the Labor Department. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Belikin, the beer of Belize.
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, the George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benque Viejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway from Roaring Creek to Esperanza has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
Bringing people together has always been SMART's mission and passion.
That is why we are proud to have built a locally independent quality network from the ground up that spans the country with over 100 sites. We continue to add more affordable mobile data packages, broadband speeds, and voice services to meet your personal and business needs.
SMART has set the standard of true competition with the most competitive prices on all services offered.
We invite and welcome you to join the SMART family, where the value for your dollar matters. SMART will continue bringing new technologies, more affordable prices, network expansions, and people together. SMART, bringing people together.
It usually happens every 10 years, but due to the pandemic, the Statistical Institute of Belize is preparing to launch the 2022 census. Households across the country can expect to see SIB data collectors at their front doors in just a few months. For now, it's all about the training. Diana Trejo, the Acting Director General, says this is proceeding on schedule and with safety uppermost in mind.
We are on track, we're on schedule with our preparations for the census. We are right now in the second week of our first round of training. We're doing our training of trainers last week and this week. That is on schedule. We have our training of field supervisors that will be taking place in March, and then we will be training our 700 and change interviewers in April. Households can expect that we will be out in the field for data collection around the middle of May. Census Day is May the 12th. So after that, they can expect to see our data collectors out in the field. I want to emphasize that because this is a face-to-face activity, there really is no other practical way to do it to get accurate information and such a large amount of information. We are taking all possible precautions to ensure that the data collection is done safely, consideration for the respondents, consideration for our staff, and to ensure that we are in and out of the field as quickly as possible and that we do the data collection as safely as possible.
The regulation banning single-use plastics will come into effect about a month from now. While the law zeroes in on those types of plastics that are used locally, there are more complex instances when the law will be more difficult to apply. Minister of Sustainable Development Orlando Habet says that government will have to make amendments to the law. In the meantime, they are appealing to Belizeans to voluntarily avoid using some plastics.
The regulations that have just been passed become effective on the 31st of March, and that is exactly what it says for the elimination and no use of single-use plastics. As we know it, the plastic bags, the paper, the plastic cups, plates, and foam bottles and everything else. But it doesn't take into consideration, for example, these water bottles. It doesn't take into consideration wrapping material. It doesn't take into consideration something that's very important right now for our industries, for example, the plastic bags that are used to cover the bananas down south, which is an industry. And so we will have to see how we can work towards that and try to see that we can also find alternative materials that can be used in industry, but also to see how we can stop the use of those plastics that come in wraps. Now, very difficult because if you buy something from Amazon, it comes in a box, but when you open it, it's wrapped up in a plastic bag. So those are things that we need to address. And so what we'll do is we want to see that we can operate the current regulations and then start adding in some amendments to start eliminating the others. But what I'm asking the public is that as Belizeans, we don't really have to wait until there is a regulation or a law for us to be able to comply. We can do it voluntarily.
The Minister of Sustainable Development, Orlando Habet, traveled to Panama recently to take part in a meeting of Central American environment ministers. It had to do with an agenda for the next few months as Panama takes over the leadership of that organization. Among the discussed topics was the establishment of a regional meteorological center. Minister Habet told News 5 that the environmental leaders also discussed the funding of a Mesoamerican forest project.
There was a concept paper that was developed. We reviewed the concept paper and we made our comments, and so hopefully a final draft will come out. And once we all agree, it comes to our NDA, which would be the authority in Belize that would sign on, which would be the Ministry of Economic Development, so that we can share in the funding to do that landscape conservation, preservation. The project is really to conserve and preserve our part of the landscape, but also to look at how we can ameliorate certain problems like intrusion into our territories, the establishing of illegal cattle ranching, preserving our water sources, but also at the same time making sure that there is a sustainability factor there and a livelihood factor there that can still serve the communities who live along these areas so that they can have a source of income and food security.
Minister Habet says that Belize will assume leadership of the forum in 2023. Belize's own Marie Sharp's pepper sauce has made the headlines again after being named the best pepper sauce at the Dubai 2020 Expo. It is a huge win for Marie Sharp's Fine Foods, especially since their product was measured against Caribbean pepper sauces. Owner Marie Sharp told us what the Dubai recognition means to her company on Open Your Eyes. She also talked about the importance of repeat business.
For us, it's a big deal, of course, because I mean that's not something that happens every day.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's an honor, And it's a great advantage for the company because we use that as our sales gimmick, you know, and so it helps the company as far as promotions are concerned. And so we are very happy about it. We know, of course, we know, and you know too, that once you taste Marisha pepper, I have you hooked, right?
Yeah. And I like how you said that. I have you hooked. The product is called Marisha
Once you
after
taste
all.
that, I have you as a hook customer.
Yeah.
Our aim is that anything that leaves our door
Yeah.
is of the highest quality.
Yeah.
So if we are making a pepper sauce from mango, I mean, that has to be a very good mango that's going to stand out, right?
Yeah.
So, and all the sauces that we make are the same. We strive to put out only the best.
Yeah.
So when we are making a product, we go through our taste testing here at the factory. We give everybody to taste and get comments because we always like people to comment on it because it's only by hearing comments that you can
You change things, yeah.
Yes, that you can change things and make it better or fix whatever, you know, and you come out then with a good product.
In case you are wondering, the judges in Dubai sampled Marie Sharp's mango habanero pepper sauce. Marie Sharp is also celebrating that it is now being sold at all Walmarts across the United States. Up next, the COVID Chronicles looks at the COVID treatment Ivermectin. Will it continue to be given out by Belize's healthcare system? Marion Ali finds out.
What is the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine? The Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine is an RNA vaccine that triggers our immune system to develop antibodies against the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes COVID-19. It helps to reduce hospitalization, severity of the disease, and death. What is the Pfizer vaccine made of, and is it safe? The Pfizer vaccine is made up of mRNA messenger ribonucleic acid, which are molecules that carry the genetic information needed to make proteins, lipid, salts, and sugar. It is safe for persons 12 years and older and does not contain the COVID-19 virus, hence cannot cause infection. Tests have shown that the vaccine is effective against current virus variants. Who should take the Pfizer vaccine? The Pfizer vaccine should be taken by persons 12 years of age and older who do not have severe allergic reaction after a previous dose of vaccine or have not had severe allergic reaction to any ingredient of this vaccine. 2 doses of the vaccine are required 3 weeks apart. If you are between the ages of 12 and 17 years, you are required to present a signed consent form before you are vaccinated. What are the side effects of the Pfizer vaccine? Some common side effects of the Pfizer vaccine are headache, fatigue, muscle pain, fever, chills, and swelling at the injection site. If side effects persist, contact your doctor as soon as possible. Does the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine prevent infection and transmission? No, vaccination alone does not prevent infection and transmission. We are still required to continue to wear masks properly, physically distance, wash and sanitize hands often, practice proper coughing and sneezing hygiene, and avoid crowds.
We have been a partner with Smart for over 10 plus years. We have a full Smart plan we use as our major driver for our business. We have a service that rolls over in that if you call one and it is busy, it rolls over to the next line. So once you call us, you can get us at any time. Before we got this Smart service, we were paying upwards of nearly $2,000 in phone bills. Since we've had our Smart service, we pay an average of about $600. So we've had tremendous saving, more than 50%. For the businesses, if you want to save money, switch to Smart because it is far more cost effective and the service is excellent.
Smart continues to be innovative in bringing new technology and meaningful savings during these challenging times to businesses across Belize. Sign up for our VoIP technology or broadband packages and save more.
Connecting people. Creating memories.
Hey guys, so here we are at the Glaze Out Kitchen. I just prepared this amazing broccoli.
Sharing a smile. Next Gen, the ultimate digital experience.
The Ministry of Health will no longer recommend Ivermectin as a treatment drug for COVID-19. The decision comes after medical professionals, both at home and abroad, have indicated that ivermectin is not effective in treatment of the virus. But even though the infection rate for COVID is on the decline, if there is ever a need for an alternative treatment, it would be something that is far more costly than the one we have been using. News 5's Marion Ali reports in this edition of COVID Chronicles.
The evidence has shown that it is not as effective as initially thought. So you would see now that it's not recommended in COVID patients.
The antiparasitic drug called ivermectin was discovered in 1975 and was first used in veterinary medicine to prevent and treat heartworms. It was also thereafter repurposed to treat humans for parasites. And since COVID swept the globe the last 2 years, some thought ivermectin was the wonder drug to treat the virus.
At the beginning, even myself was using it, prescribing it. And I can remember I had also said publicly that I would be recommending it, but that has changed. That has changed. So we're no longer recommending the ivermectin as part of the COVID use.
And the Ministry of Health is taking that recommendation to not use the drug to treat COVID patients. Today, while he was occupied in a cabinet retreat and could not grant an interview, Minister of Health Kevin Bernard informed News 5 that, quote, "Our official position is that we are not prescribing or promoting the use of ivermectin for the treatment of COVID. Even though you can find some studies still advocating its use, the majority of studies have not proven its effectiveness," unquote. Indeed, there are still arguments in some quarters of the medical profession as to the drug's efficacy. Internist Dr. Fernando Cuellar states, but less so now.
And I'm sure that we can continue having some debates about its use because it's a little bit effective, less effective than we thought. It's safe. That's another thing. And the big other factor with it that it's very cheap. There's still some debate, but now I can tell you the debate more leans to not using it for SARS-CoV.
The American Food and Drug Association reports that ivermectin can be harmful if it is taken in large amounts and that it can interact with other medications like blood thinners. Overdoses on ivermectin can cause a variety of other health issues as well and can lead to seizures, coma, and even death. But while this once miracle drug is now being taken off the list of COVID treatments, newer ones that have gotten the thumbs up might not be accessible to every patient.
Other types of medication that have now come on the market are far more expensive. Molnupiravir, which was available in Belize, a 5-day course of that costs $450. So that makes it prohibitive to a lot of people, no? A lot of people won't have that amount of money to spend on the newer medication that is recommended.
The cost attached to the new treatment drug for COVID could put new burdens on the government if another COVID wave comes our way. Reporting for News 5, I'm Marion Ali.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.